Hey everybody, welcome back. It's patch 824. This time we're going to do Hyperspeed Tiger Stance Udyr. This build is good for diving onto the backline in team fights and bursting down the squishy carries, maybe dodging all the skill shots that come your way as you're diving in, and just being very fast overall. So before this patch, my tryhard build was Dark Harvest, but that got nerfed halfway through last patch, and it also got a really big nerf this patch, so just don't use that build anymore. Honestly, just don't use it anymore. It's just not even close to how strong it was when I recorded those videos. But now, the new strongest rune, based on my experience and based on global ranked, the new strongest rune is Phase Rush. The rune tree we're going to be using is Phase Rush, Nullifying Orb, Celerity, Water Walking, Magical Footwear, and Approach Velocity. So all in all, this is going to make us pretty fast. One thing that changed recently in patch 823 was Celerity. So it no longer gives damage and instead gives more movement speed than it gave before. So the movement speed increase is based on your own movement speed. So it's a percentage increase. So if you're playing a champion like Udyr, who's very fast, you're going to get even more fast. So for the secondary tree, it's a little bit of an unconventional choice. Now that the stats are not tied to the secondary tree, we can take, for example, attack speed, even though we have inspiration. For the runes, we're going to have magical footwear, so we can have a little bit more movement speed from that. And approach velocity, which is really good for the blue smite synergy. So blue smite already gives movement speed when you smite somebody, but now with approach velocity, you're going to get even more movement speed because it says gain bonus movement speed towards enemy champions that you movement impair. All in all, we're going to be pretty fast. Now for the stats, we're going to take the standard, most common setup, attack speed, adaptive force, and armor. Now it's really important to point out that if you're going to play a high movement speed build like this, you need to know how to orb walk properly. Otherwise, it's just a waste, and you'll find yourself in situations where you run up to somebody and attack them, and then they just keep walking, and you stand there for a second, and then you have to stop auto-attacking because they already moved out of your range and you didn't anticipate it. So I made a guide on orb walking, and that's basically just clicking the ground to move, like running side by side an enemy as you're attacking them. If you do it properly, you're not actually slowing down your attacks. You're going to be attacking the same speed as if you were standing still, attacking a non-moving target. It's just important to learn that because if you don't practice it, you're going to be right-clicking too slow, and you might actually be losing some DPS if you try to walk while moving. The effectiveness of Phase Rush, Celerity, and movement speed in general depends on your own orb walking ability. It's directly proportional. The full-length guide for that orb walking, you can find that linked right here. Now for the items, we're also going to be focused on movement speed for the first couple items. First thing we're going to get is Blue Smite, and that's always going to be Warrior. So when you're ganking somebody, remember to start with Blue Smite, and that's going to give you the bonus movement speed from approach velocity. And after you get the Blue Smite Warrior, we're going to pick up Trinity Force for the second core item. That gives you 5% bonus movement speed and also a little bit more movement speed after you attack, and even more movement speed after you kill a unit like a minion or a jungle monster. So those are the only two core items for this build. And other than that, after that, I would just recommend building defense. Another option is to get a Tiamat in there, but that's completely optional, up to your own playstyle. I'll talk about that more later. So for the defense items, I would recommend getting a Dead Man's Plate first. It's going to make you pretty fast, but only out of combat, but still it makes it pretty easy to position yourself around the back of the enemy team. Actually, it's the most common first defensive item on Udyr, so it's pretty hard to go wrong with Dead Man's Plate. Now, after Dead Man's Plate, I like to go for Zezerout Portal because that gives you more movement speed in lanes. So if you're team fighting a late game, for example, around a turret or a fallen turret, you're going to be even faster. And other than that, it just comes down to situational picks. So maybe if the enemy team has a lot of attack speed, AD champions pick up a Randuin's. If the enemy team has an AP champion that's pretty fed, pick up a Spirit Visage. And that's pretty much all. Now for the first clear, there's a few different options. Let's start with blue team or left team. So if you wanted to be as aggressive as possible and try to snowball bot lane early, just take your red buff and then level up Bear Stance level 2 and go straight to bot lane, straight through Tribush. Maybe you can catch the enemies in the river as they're running back from their blue buff, but Otherwise, you can just wait in that bush and see if they will push up and maybe go for a kill, or at least get a flash or two. Other than that, on blue team, if you wanted to invade the enemy jungler early and steal his red buff, you could start at your blue buff up here and run into the enemy jungle, leave a ward in this bush here, steal this red buff, steal the large raptor only, and then you can just take the scuttle and that'll give you level 3 power spike. So it's a little bit of a slower start than the level 2 gank, but level 3 power spike on Udyr is pretty good, so that way you can get each of your tiger stance, turtle, and bear stance leveled up, and then go for a gank in either top or mid lane. So basically choose between either of those two routes depending on which lane you want to gank first, or if you want to mess with the enemy jungler first. So in choosing which gank you want to go for, always keep in mind that it's easier to get the champions that don't have a dash ability. So for example, a Lux is going to be a lot easier to kill than a LeBlanc or a Katarina. So maybe focus the less mobile champions first. Now if you want to be safer still and have the least risk, no early ganking or invading, you can get your level 3 power spike by starting with red buff, running up to wolves, then blue, and then you can take the scuttle, and that'll give you your level 3 power spike. And if the scuttle's not there, you can just kill Gromp. Now on the other team, it's pretty much the same thing, just reflected. So you could either start with blue buff, level up bear stance, run straight to bot lane through tribush. And about the jungle invade route, I wouldn't recommend doing that on this side of the map because that would force you to start with red buff. Invading to steal a buff only really works on the upper part of the map because 9 times out of 10 the enemy jungler is going to start with bot lane for the better leash. I don't think it's worth invading the enemy jungle if you don't have blue buff. So on red team, I would just recommend going for the tribush gank or going for the safe level 3 power spike route, which is going to be blue, Gromp, wolves, red, get your level 3, then gank either top or mid lane. Or invade the jungle and try to find them still finishing off their blue buff maybe. Or if you see them gank bot, then you know you can take that blue buff. So we have a few different games to look at. This is all ranked gameplay in Platinum 2. The first game is the longest of the 3, and it really shows off how fast you can get your movement speed up in late game. And the second game was an early game snowball, so I was able to win every lane by ganking, getting kills in every lane. And then the third game is going to be an example of Tiamat, Titanic Hydra for split pushing. So this game went for the level 2 tribush gank in bot lane. And look at that, we burst down the Lux. Take the scuttle on the way up to mid lane, and now we try for another kill in mid lane. Look at this flash hook by Pyke, very good. And that's another kill right there. So Phase Rush is all about the early aggression. It's not going to fall off late either, because you're just going to be really fast late game. Just a good all-around rune, kind of like Press the Attack. It was going to be an easy double kill. Oh, but we stunned the minion. And my mid laner dies too. So let's just run back to red buff that I didn't take yet. And I noticed that the top lane is pushing pretty hard. That's always what you got to look out for a potential kill. So this guy, we come in behind him, just kind of force him into tower. He goes for that kill, but we get him. So enemy jungler gets a kill, but then since he dies, that's a good chance for me to go for dragon. So take the scuttle first. So we get the mountain drake. Let's go back to base, pick up a warrior. No need to buy boots with this build because we got the magical boots. So just go straight for the damage. There's Master Yi gank in bot lane. So I see the enemy blue buff about to spawn, so I run over there. Try to steal it. He's through 1 and 2 now. But we're going to take this blue. Both mid and top come over here to try to protect the jungle. But I'm just wasting their time basically because they are missing out on farm. And I'm not really missing out on that much. So once they finally leave, just run back in here. Take the Gromp, finish off the wolves. And then I'm going to run over to Rift Herald. A really important skill to learn with a build like this is to dodge skill shots. So whenever you see the enemy champion stop moving, for example, start an animation, that's when you know they're going to throw their skill shots. So you got to practice watching the enemy champion animations. And identifying which of them have skill shots and keep an eye on those guys. Anticipate before they even throw it and just step backwards, and that's pretty much all you have to do. Just step back in the opposite direction or just run in a zigzag pattern. You don't even have to think about much and you can dodge a lot of skill shots. So Master Yi gets another kill in bot lane, but we run down there, finish him off, and I'm just going to activate this Rift Herald, try to push down this tower. Lux comes all the way back to tower, so I guess I'm going to get this hit. Blue's coming up, so I'm just going to leave because I'm out of mana. Steal the enemy red buff. If Master Yi shows up, it's an easy 1 versus 1 because he's so squishy. It'll just take me a few hits since I built Warrior. Steal his blue buff as well. He's busy fighting. I'm busy taking all his farm, which is going to set him up to fall behind in the near future, even though I'm already double his farm. He's going to have no way to come back now. So we go back to base, pick up our Trinity Force. Now we got our boots also. See the enemies pushing top lane, so let's run up there. There's Master Yi. And he's dead. Pretty squishy. He was the fed one, but now he's pretty useless. Just use flash right there to dodge a orb from Syndra, finish her off. Ooh, dodge a snare. But I did not dodge the ult. So I respawn, run to my blue buff, but as I'm taking blue buff, Master Yi comes in. So he's 6-5-3. I'm 7-3-3. Pyke is now getting pretty fed. So we're just going to steal another one of his buffs here. So here's an example of orb walking right here. You can see that I'm running side by side even while attacking him. So if I just stood still, he would be getting out of range every single time after I stood still and attacked. So it would just cost me a lot of DPS. So here comes Master Yi. Sion uses ult. I just step right out of the side, step out of his knockup. Team shows up. We turn on the Master Yi. I loop around out of vision, pop on the Syndra, and just weaving all around. Nobody knows where the Udyr is going. It's just too fast to keep track of. Get a mid lane tower. So since we got the mid inhib down, I decided to split push bot lane because my team is going top. And I don't have a Tiamat, so the split pushing is not going to be great. But I figured we could just slowly make progress. My teammates were not on the same page. They just wanted to go deep and they end up tower diving. But I'm already getting this first tower down here. Enemy AD carry picks up a quad. But we got the tower. Steal yet another buff from Master Yi. And now's a good time to just grab this dragon. Now since we already got the inner tower in bot lane, let's do the same thing up top. It's an easier target than the inhib tower in bot lane. And there's no reason to go mid lane since we already got that inhib. Pretty good tower damage with Warrior and the Trinity Force procs. Here the Irelia jumps in, gets snared. I should have hit the tower the one more time, but I didn't think she was actually just going to dive in like that, so didn't really expect that. So I was running down to mid lane because this inhib's about to come up, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just let these clowns do their thing, and I'll get this inhib. But Master Yi is actually right here defending it. So that didn't work out. Enemies get another like 2 kills for their AD carry, and I'm trying to sneak into the enemy base and grab this inhibitor now. So again, another example of orb walking there. Moving between every attack, and at this point I'm actually running in front of Sion and attacking behind me. So if he wasn't as tanky, it would look a little bit cooler. But we get the inhib. So again, slow motion of that. You can see exactly what I mean. So I'm attacking the same speed as if I was standing still, and that's very important. Otherwise it's not worth doing if you're not fast enough. It's sort of demoralizing, actually, for the enemy. So once we get that inhib, it's a good chance to get Baron. Ezreal picks off the Master Yi as he's coming to check Baron. Back to base. It's going to be a Raptor Cloak from me, so a little bit more movement speed in lane in team fights. And I'm going to go back to split pushing bot lane because now we got the mid inhib down again. So at that point you either want to go top or bot. Teammates just don't have any patience. They go in, get wiped out. So in games like this, sometimes it might be better to protect your team, but sometimes you can just say, if you're strong enough, just say, forget the team, I'm just going to carry the game by split pushing. So look how fast I can kill these. Maximizing Trinity Force procs by attacking 4 times in each stance, using the new proc every single time it's off cooldown. We get the bot inhib. Steal another red buff from the jungle. Teammates still trying to fight in mid lane for some reason, when they should just be going top lane to get that last inhib, but that's okay. We got the Pyke here now. He is really fed like me. So we just run on this Master Yi. Burst him down pretty fast. We both get out. So now is a pretty good time to fight because Master Yi was one of the stronger ones. So we're able to get the Scion pretty quick with both of us. There goes Pyke though. I can try to get this AD carry, who's also pretty fed. Ooh, dodge a snare. AD carry down. Now we just got a Syndra and a Lux to kill. So there goes her Zonias. Meanwhile, we get a dragon. So now what we got to do is run up the top lane. So I'm going to go back to base, finish my Zizurot portal, get an Elixir of Iron, run up to top, try to push that last inhib while the other lanes push themselves. Trying to damage this tower. So actually, when the enemies aren't looking, I run over to mid lane real quick, try to get this inhib. There goes Master Yi ult. You can see the panic. Run back a few seconds later. Dodge a knock-up. Step out of the side of the Scion ult. Loop back around, run in here. Straight for the backline squishies. So they are out of the fight. They can't do anything. Come back in here. Collapse on the guys that are isolated. And we get this inhib again. And this game is just about over. So let's move on to the next game, which was an early game snowball. So we didn't get to see the ridiculous movement speed late game in this one, but this is sort of the ideal situation. We're doing the same level 2 gank. This time these guys were running back to their lane from blue, from leashing. But I just get this Lulu separated and try to damage her a little bit. There goes her ignite. And I bring this Rammus straight to my teammates by flashing right before he hits me. So then I turn around, stun him. And we focus this guy down. And now it's going to be easy to kill Lulu. Scuttle comes up. Then after this I can run through mid lane, try to get a kill there. Or just run to the next Scuttle up top, or take my blue. So I go for the blue. And then I can get the Scuttle. Now the Rammus still didn't take his red buff, so I run over there. He's now a level behind me, and I got double buffs, and he has nothing. So easily able to push him away from his red. Enemy laners come over. That's a TP from mid. Wasted a lot of time for a Rammus. Now I just run up to top lane because we see the Lucian might be a possible kill. And we just try to move between every attack again to walk side by side of the Lucian so we can't get out of range. And Jax is now ahead. Ooh, Rammus gets a double kill in bot lane. So let's try mid lane. There's a blue smite. Gain some movement speed. Get another kill for our mid laner. I'm not getting a ton of kills this game, but I'm getting a ton of assists. So there's another one there for Jax. Bot lane picks up a kill, mid lane picks up a kill, and the snowball is already getting pretty hard to stop. So this red buff is coming up in 30 seconds, so I'm just kind of waiting around. And watching top lane, the Lucian pushes away from his tower, so I decide to run over there. Get him once again. That's another kill for Jax. Here's the red buff. That Rammus is 2 levels down. We can definitely win this 2 versus 2, so I just go for the smite on red. And focus down the lower health guy first. The Rammus, he's lower level, so not too tanky yet. And then step into the bush, turn around, stun the Echo. Get a double kill for our mid laner. I got 7 assists. And bot lane gets another kill. Pick up this Fire Drake. Mid lane runs top. They get 2 kills. I kick the enemy jungler while he's down by stealing some wolves and a Gromp. And was checking to see if these guys were going to face check, but it looks like that was warded. Bot lane runs through tower to fight. Here comes Rammus. We're running here. We burst down the Squishy Lulu first. So now I try to switch my focus to the AD carry. Hit him with big Tiger proc. Boom. Here comes the minion autos. No. And I had like a 1/10 of a second there. I could have used my turtle stance. Now I'm just going to flank these guys that are pushing mid lane. Just sprint through. Drive by. Get away. Get up to full health by killing Scuttle, taking some fruit. Steal a blue buff from the jungle. Now I'm just going to flank these guys that are pushing mid lane. Find the Varus over here isolated. Steal a red buff. Now we're just about to dive these guys any minute now. But since we got a control ward in this bush, I decide to camp in it, see if anybody's going to face check. So here comes a Lulu. Go for the tiger into bear into instantly another tiger stance. For the double burn damage. And it's the end of Lulu. Now we are slowly going to push into this tower. I just got a little bit greedy there. Tunnel vision on the Rammus, but that's okay because I got most of the assists this game anyways. My teammates are the carries, so I'm fine with dying. Looks like my teammates are just going to ace these guys now. Once I respawn, go grab another dragon. Find the AD carry over here. Soraka with the big Dark Harvest proc. Meanwhile in mid lane, Cassidon's getting ready to kill everybody. And that's going to be a surrender. Now for the last game, I just want to show you a little example of how to use Tiamat and when is a good time to do that. So this game, our team is not super far ahead, but I am by far the most fed person on the team. So in this type of situation, if you know that you can 1 versus 1 anybody, that's probably a good time to split push. Sometimes that's what you got to do to carry if you're the only one that's strong enough. So if you go farm a whole lane, you're going to get like a 3 level advantage potentially by the end of the game. So Tiamat makes your wave clear a little bit faster, so that's why it's good for split pushing. So right there is an example of just all the people fighting in mid lane trying to push, and I just sneak around to the side lane and grab a tower. But picking up a Tiamat doesn't ruin your damage. It actually gives you some pretty good burst damage. So here I see these guys pushing through our jungle, running behind them, get on the Squishy in the back. Burst down the Heimerdinger. Get on the Tristana. And we get the 3rd kill there. So we just take this opportunity to go Baron. And once you got Baron, it's also really good to split push with that, so you can get all your minions buffed in every lane. So I go back to base, run down to bot lane now, because that one still has the inner tower up, where you got the top lane. and just trying to get my teammates to fight in mid lane. And I don't even have to say anything, they're probably just going to do that anyways. So, push bot. These guys are just going to do their little mindless, whatever they want to do. And I'm just going to run bot lane. We pulled the two strongest enemies down here, the Nasus and the Rengar. Fiora chases away the Rengar, kills him. Now, the strong guy left is Nasus, but he's just completely distracted by the Udyr destroying these towers. Teammates are easily able to win that matchup in mid lane. Nasus gets distracted by the Fiora, and I'm just destroying these structures so fast with Trinity Force procs. You always want to watch your Trinity Force timer. The appropriate timing is 4 attacks in each stance. That'll give you pretty fast Trinity Force procs. Maybe 3 attacks, but it's a little bit hard to time, so if you mess it up, then you're wasting a few seconds. So I always just go for the 4 attacks in each stance to get the Trinity Force procs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And we just finish off the Nasus. Meanwhile, my teammates are killing that mid lane inhib with nobody fighting back. So we get 2 inhibs. Now we just gotta run to top lane. Oh, here's another good use of Titanic Hydra. Auto attack reset. Boom. It almost looks like 1 attack, but it's just bear, switch to tiger, reset the timer by activating Titanic Hydra, and use that against an AD carry. They will be like, what just happened? Like, I don't even understand what just happened. Now this is going to be the last big team fight here, so I'm just going to take this time to say thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions about this build. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. The next Udyr video is going to be Lethal Tempo, Hybrid, DPS, Tiger Phoenix with Cinderhulk Rageblade. So if that sounds interesting, subscribe. And of course, as I've talked about before, the Udyr videos are going to be a lot more common once Season 9 starts in about a month. And I'm going to try for Diamond next season. And we'll see how it goes. So, thanks for watching, guys. Consider leaving a sub, and I will see you guys next time.